Are you gonna come hang out? Yeah? Okay, we'll see you soon. All right, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about plot structure, which is probably something that you've learned in school, but let's just give you a quick crash course through what I refer to as the plot structure mountain, which is probably how many people refer to it, but we're just going to call it a mountain because that's what it looks like. So a plot structure mountain is basically an organizational tool to properly arrange the order of events in a story from start to finish. You start with the exposition, which is an introduction of the characters, the setting, and the establishment of the problem that your characters will face along their journey. And then you have the rising action, which is basically the suspense building and the problem potentially getting worse along the way to the climax. And then the climax of the story is basically the turning point. It's kind of your middle section, but it should be the most exciting part that kind of engages your readers and catches their attention once makes them want to keep going. And then your falling action are the events that happen after the climax that lead to the resolution or the ending of the story. And then the resolution is basically just the aftermath of everything that your characters just went through. So it's kind of a reflection on how they have changed through the course of the events. It's just kind of an ending to everything, basically. So plot structure mountains are great because you can use it as just a general format for a short story, and you can just have that be it, or maybe it's just for your long format story. Or you can have several plot structure mountains within a larger one, or you can have two plot structure mountains happening at the same time. We're going to give a couple examples on that. So a good example of a plot structure mountain that has multiple stories happening within it is One Piece. One Piece is a good example because there is a giant overarching story of Luffy, the main character, is trying to become the next king of the pirates. And by doing that, he encounters several other situations along the way that eventually lead up to what he's trying to do, but they also all come into completion. So there's several arcs within the story, and they all come to completion along the way. Now, One Piece isn't over yet, so there's no way to tell. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because One Piece has been going on for maybe 10 years and it's still not over yet. It's hit a halfway point, but it is not over. So there's really no way to tell where One Piece is at on its plot structure mountain, but it has giant overarching one, which is Luffy trying to become the king of the pirates, and then on top of that, it's got several in between it. Again, I'm repeating myself at this point, but it has several in between it because Luffy gets all of his crewmates, and each one of those little situations where he gains a crew member is an arc. That's a whole story that comes to completion. And then a good example of two plot structure mountains happening at the same time would be from Avatar: The Last Airbender, where one half of the story follows Aang, Katara, and Sokka and their journey on getting Aang to learn all of the other elements, and then the story of Zuko, Prince Zuko, basically redeeming himself and basically growing into a different type of person than he currently is. So things to think about while you're doing this would be, how does your character respond to these situations, and how does the world around them react to those situations? So those are kind of two separate thoughts called two separate things. How do they react to these situations, and how does that reflect on them is character progression. And then how does the world around them respond to what's happening is called a catalyst. So just to keep using One Piece as an example, an example of character progression would be when the character Nami and the rest of the crew go through a whole series of situations that on the other end, when this arc is over, Nami becomes a more trusting person of those around her. So she has an easier time relying on other people than she had at the beginning of the story. And then a catalyst example would be, this is not a spoiler situation, it's literally in the beginning of every episode of One Piece, when the pirate king, Gold Roger, is executed for being a pirate, he sets off what is called the Great Pirate Era. So by announcing that, hey, I've left all my treasure in one place, and all you have to do is find it. And by doing that, you become the next king of the pirates. And this basically shook the entire world up and started a whole new world, the new pirate era. So that's an example because it set a whole group of young people like Luffy and several others that I'm not going to say because that would be spoilers if you haven't watched One Piece yet. That set them on the path of what's a still not finished story, but very cool and very exciting, and you can still tell that it has a big overarching story, which is Luffy trying to become the king of the pirates, along with several stories that happen in between. Now, this isn't to say that everything that you write or incorporate into your story has to be like zing, zang, zoom. This is all crucial to the plot. But it's just so you can incorporate little fun moments that that are just goofy. They don't have to, they can just be nice and sweet. But that's just something that I want you to think about. How can you incorporate those little nuggets of fun, tender, goofy, whatever you want it to be, into these big actions that eventually lead up to something else, that are just like, how do, like, say between one mountain and another, what do they do in their downtime to relax? How do they get through, how do they handle that situation that they just that they just got into, or got out of rather, and how does that situation shape how they move forward into the next one? These are just things to think. So I unfortunately don't have a fun little art project to do with you guys this week because this is something that's very thought and writing heavy. So instead, I want to encourage you guys to look at your favorite books, video games, TV shows, cartoons, movies, and just think about how they use plot structures. How do their characters respond to the situations around them? What are the rising and falling actions? Are there two different stories happening at once? Are there many stories that happen along the way, like in One Piece or Avatar? It's just, look at these and think about how you can use these tools in your own work, and how do they help you grow. And that's basically all I have this week. So again, look into your favorite things, analyze them, get into them, dig in, have a great time, drink water, wear sunscreen, it's getting brighter and brighter out, and just take care of yourselves. Love you, bye.